everybody, and welcome back to my channel. We're back. All right, I'm gonna let you in a little bit on some tips and tricks today, but here's the thing. Have you ever noticed, I realize this whole thing on like TikTok and Instagram and social media, but have you ever noticed that the more spiritually aware that you become, the more people start telling you everything is trying to attack your energy? Oh, it's cringe. It makes me cringe, right? Protect your energy. Watch out for energy vampires. Watch out for dark entities. Watch out for negative people. Watch out for jealous people. Fudge. Like, what do I not need to watch out for? Like, I have heard this from so many people where I have stopped and questioned myself, and I'm like, am I in the wrong because I'm not worried about these things? Like, is it me? Should I be? Right? You're walking around, you're feeling like the world is just out to get you, and I don't feel that, and I'm like, but should I be feeling that way? Because I want to have like a really real conversation, because I've been doing this work, like, for over a decade as a psychic medium, energy healer, intuitive coach, doing all of it. And I've learned that protecting your energy isn't what most people think it is. In fact, some of the biggest lessons that I have learned completely changed how I approach spiritual protection. And I do this work where I have done exorcisms. This is not a bragging thing, because it's not really like what I like to do, but I have done it. Okay. So when I first started opening up my gifts, sorry, I got really dizzy. I was like, when I I'm not talking like I've had my ability since 6. So I'm talking about like later on when I first started opening up and really expanding them. There was a point that like I was just very, very sensitive to energies and things like that. Like, I was just feeling everything from everybody. I was feeling like all the energy in all the spaces. I could feel tension when people were speaking, even if they had a smile on their face. Like, I could read like the sadness, the grief, the anger, and I was naturally empathic. And I didn't ever thought like my job was to take it. Like, I never thought like, oh, I have to take this or I have to heal this. I just could feel it. I could just feel it. And because I was feeling it, I would absorb energies really quickly. Like, I could be around just yucky energy and absorb it, to the point that there was times I was around really heavy people and I would immediately be like, I need to take a nap. Like, I couldn't tell you why. I was so tired, but I'd be like, I need to take a nap. And then being a healer, I used to think at times, as I really stepped into this healing industry, like, I should be healing people more. I don't know. And I thought being compassionate meant also like kind of really understanding the pain that people were going through. But that's a lot of energy that I am like giving out, and taking in. And it was draining. It was exhausting. And I was just emotionally and physically drained all the time. I was overwhelmed. And I would find myself where like I would give readings, and then all of a sudden I'd have to shut down for like a month or two of like no readings, because I was being depleted. And I would leave conversations carrying emotions that weren't mine. Like, they weren't mine to carry. And eventually I realized something that really changed my way. So now, like, if you see me, I can hold space for a lot of people, and I could do a lot of readings in a day and a lot of clearings in a day. But here's the thing. Being intuitive does not mean that you are an emotional sponge. Okay? Being intuitive does not mean that you become an emotional sponge. Got it? Remember that. You can witness someone's pain without becoming their pain, or without, like, should I better word it, taking on their pain, right? You can hold space for somebody without literally carrying them. Okay. You can love somebody without rescuing them. And that's a big one, because I don't think a lot of people understand that. And if you're like, what does that mean? Have you ever loved somebody and you're like, but I can change them, but they're going to change. But like, I'm their only hope. I'm the only good thing. No, honey. No, you're rescuing them. We don't got time for that. We don't got time for that. And honestly, that's where my having these perceptions and shift of looking at things, that's really where my energy protection journey began. So not with sage, not with crystals, not with rituals, which are all great things, by the way. I'm not dogging them, but that's not where it started. It started with boundaries. It started with boundaries. And the strongest form of protection that you can have for yourself is boundaries. And I don't think it's talked about enough. Like, we don't talk about, because most of the time what people think is an energetic attack is actually a boundary problem. I'm going to pause on that one because it's so true. Usually what this means is that oftentimes we don't realize it, but we are giving people unlimited access to our time, to our energy, to our emotions. This is like someone who is constantly could be dumping on you all the time, their problems, or they only call when they need something. And it drains, like your energy is so drained every single time that you interact with them. Then we go home and then we try to cleanse our energy, or we're like, what the hell's going on, right? That's usually if somebody calls me. But the real question is, why? Why are you letting them get access to you? Why are you letting this pattern continue? Why? And when you ask yourself why, that is the questions that will change your life. That is the perception that you will need to have in order to make a difference. Because what I realized is I spent years trying to heal the symptoms instead of addressing the source. So I was burning sage after conversations that I shouldn't had to have. Like, I didn't need to hold that space. Or I was doing energy clearings for relationships I should have walked away from a long time before I walked away from them. I was trying to spiritually solve problems that were, Isabel, you need to lay this boundary down. And I wish somebody would have told me that versus the way I was trying to do it. And I think a lot of people need to hear that. And I'm saying this as a psychic medium because I work and I coach so many psychic mediums in boundaries now. And I teach them these things because I did learn the hard way. And if you ever had a reading with me, you know, I'm a very upfront reader, right? I'm going to be like, this is happening, this is that. And your spirit guide usually will call you out, like, when are we going to learn this lesson and stop this pattern? So I think what people don't understand, though, is that they put everything as spiritual warfare. And sometimes it's just poor boundaries. It's just poor boundaries. I'm taking a breath because it's so true. Another thing I learned is that protecting your energy starts with being honest about your own energy. Your own energy. And my energy, everyone's energy, we're not pretty all the time, right? I know that we say like positive vibes only, but like, no, let's be honest about your own energy. See, I see so many people immediately assume every uncomfortable feeling is coming from somebody else, right? Like, that's somebody else's anxieties, that's somebody else's fears, those are somebody else's worries, that's somebody else's ickiness. But whenever I feel off, I always will ask myself a few questions. Like, am I tired? Have I been resting, right? Like right now, before this, putting this video on, I have a headache. And I'm like, do I need to do this video? Do I need to rest, right? Have I been ignoring my emotions? Have I been overworking? Have I been avoiding something that needs my attention? Because sometimes what we call negative energy is actually, love, you're just burnt out. Like, there is no other way to say it. You are burnt out. Sometimes what we call an energetic attack, it's anxiety. And sometimes what we call spiritual warfare is unprocessed grief. Grief is not just always about someone passing. You can have grief, by the way, for a lot of things. Sorry. And if we're not careful, we spend years looking outside of ourselves for answers that are actually inside of ourselves. Everything that you need is always inside of you. It's not outside of you, it's inside of you. And if you find yourself seeking answers outside of you, you need to turn it back in. So one of the most important things I do as a psychic medium is I stay connected to my body. If you know me, you have heard me coach this and say this so many times, because a lot of people, when they work with spirit, are so focused on disconnecting from themselves, right? Astro traveling, huge transcendental meditations, all these things. I'm not against them. I think they're great, but you need to know how to stay grounded and you need to stay in your body because your body is such an intuitive gift. That's where you find all of your answers. So I found the opposite to be true. The stronger my connection is to my body, the stronger my intuition becomes. Plain and simple. So the stronger my connection is, the safer I feel. Think about that. If you don't feel safe in your body, how are you getting your answers? That means you're floating around in space just collecting everybody's energy. So the stronger that I feel connected to my body, the clearer my messages become. So before I connect with spirit, I always ground. I breathe. Call on my spirit team. I become present. I get centered with myself. Because if I'm disconnected from myself, I can't receive the messages I need for myself as well as for my clients. Okay, so there's a tip. Now, we're going to talk about the spiritual community. Okay, and the one thing that goes on a lot in the spiritual community is fear. There is so much fear in some of these spiritual spaces. So much fear. People are afraid of being cursed. People are afraid of the evil eye, afraid of dark entities, afraid of other psychics, afraid of jealousy, afraid of energy vampires, afraid of everything. And what I've learned is fear is such a low vibration, by the way, and it's the fastest way you can give your power away. Now, I can go on about this, about the fact that how the world wants to keep us in a state of fear so that we're always giving our power away, but let's not do that, okay? Do I believe there's absolutely, first off, energy is real, energy exists, right? But discernment really matters. Discernment matters, right? So how do you guys want to word this? When you are working in this energy work or psychic work, you need to be aware of your environments and what we allow into our lives. But you are not meant to walk through life afraid. You're not meant to walk through life with fear. We're supposed to walk with joy, with power, with empowerment, right? We have a connection to our divine source, God. You have that connection that runs through you. You hold that energy in and around you at all times. Because when you know who you are spiritually, you really stop feeling like everything has power over you. You stop putting your focus on all of that, and you're like, I don't need to worry about all that because I know who I am. So you stop living in fear and you start living in trust. And trust is one of the most protective energies I have ever experienced. And don't even get me started on how trust not only is the most protective energy, but it also helps your communication and clarity with spirit more than ever. So what I do with every day is I connect with my guides. I connect with my higher self. I set intentions. I ground. I release all the energy, what isn't mine. I do this probably multiple times in the day. I move my body. I have to move my body to get in alignment, and I protect my space. I say no when I need to. I limit access to people who continuously drain me. And most importantly, I trust myself. Gotta trust yourself. And if you're sitting in that alone and being like, wait, do I? Might want to ask yourself with that. Because after years of doing this work, I realized that my greatest protection isn't outside of me. It's my relationship with myself. It's my connection with spirit. It's my ability to know when something is mine and when it's not mine. It's because I know my energy that well. Do you? Do you? And that's a lesson I want to leave with you today. You don't need to become less sensitive. You do not. You don't need to shut down your gifts, run from your abilities, hide from your abilities, because please, we all have abilities. We all have abilities, and they're gifts. They're meant for you to utilize in your life. You don't need to build a wall around your heart. You simply need to learn how to stay rooted, grounded, centered in yourself while the world moves around you, right? Isn't there like some kind of saying about like, let the storm go around you and you're firm, you're grounded? That's what protecting your energy actually is. That's what it is. And honestly, that's what changed everything for me. Everything. It's not all these crazy, complicated things that everybody makes it to be. It's not. So take these tips. Hopefully these help. This is my way, and these are my things for what I do for myself. And it's how I protect my energy. So it's really simple. It's really simple. It's not that complicated. Don't make it complicated. And if you'd like, subscribe, follow for more. And I will talk to you later. Bye.